verse 1. I waited patiently for the Lord, and he inclined unto me and heard my cry. He brought me up also out of an horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock, and established my goings. And he has put a new song in my mouth, even praise unto our God. Many shall see it and fear, and shall trust in the Lord. Blessed is that man that maketh the Lord his trust, and respect not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies. Many, O Lord my God, are thy wonderful works, which thou hast done, and thy thoughts which are usward. They cannot be reckoned upon in order unto thee. If I would declare and speak of them, they are more than can be numbered. And we just like to use for a thought this morning, this afternoon. I never would have made it. I never would have made it. If you will, just turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, I made it. And turn to the other and say the same thing, neighbor, I made it. But I never would have made it without the Lord. Amen. Give God a hand praise as we take our seats this morning. Never would have made it. We can look back right now, starting at the first Sunday, beginning with the first Sunday in January of 2012 to this Sunday, last Sunday in December of 2012. And if we be real about it, there's been a lot of us that have questioned ourselves whether or not we were going to make it. What I'm trying to say, that's a thing that took place in this year, from the first Sunday of January to this last. Some things took place in your life. There were some moments that you questioned whether you were going to make it. There was some time, there was some situation that presented themselves into your life that you questioned whether or not you were going to make it. Some have been sick, and you questioned whether or not you were going to make it through your sick. Some have been broke without a dime in their pocket. They questioned whether or not they were going to make it. Some have lost friends along the way, and you question yourself. Some have come out of a broken home and question yourself. Some have marriages have been on the rocks, and some have broken up, and you question yourself whether or not you were going to make it this year. You've been tempted on every side. You've been tossed and driven by the sea. The storm of life have given you some situations this year that you question yourself on many occasions whether or not you were going to make it. Am I right about it? Amen. There's some of you right now that can smile within yourself, because not only did you question whether or not you were going to make it, but you know that you made it. All right, come on. And you smile within yourself because you knew that if it had not been for the Lord, you would not have made it. But I'm here to tell you, though, one thing we have to keep in mind. Just because you made it through those situations, those circumstances, it does not mean that your troubles are over. There's still going to be some things, Teddy Bear, that's going to come your way in a few days that will have you questioning again. Will I make it? But the same thing that brought you through 2012 will take you through 2013 as well. I know there's some bumps and some bruises that we accomplish or comes our way on the time, during the time I walk a lifetime on this life, but through it all we can make it because we have God on our side. If God is for you, then he's more than the whole world is against it. I'm here to tell you today that you're not alone. We all have had circumstances where we didn't feel like that we were going to be able to make it through it. It may not have been death, but it's been something that's bothered you, that kept you, and you almost gave up. But I'm here to tell you today that David is here to explain to us what we must do in order to make it through whatever we're going through. Never would have made it if it had not been, I believe. David wants us to know that this lesson, this story today, some scholars have been questioning when it was written and why David wrote this at this particular time. But I'm here to tell you today that it doesn't matter why he wrote it. And it doesn't matter what he was going through when he wrote it. we just need to know that whatever we're going through, that if we wait on the Lord, and not just wait, but David said he patiently waited on the Lord. In other words, patiently lets me know that it wasn't just for a moment, but he waited for a while. Some of us have that microwave religion where we call God today, we want it by this evening. But sometimes that thing we have to patiently wait on. David emphasized, I waited patiently on the Lord. Waited for him patiently. In other words, it was not just an overnight success. I had to wait on him, and the more I waited, and I'm sure that he was bothered. That's the human part. We're bothered sometimes. None of us really like to wait. None of us like to wait. And let me give you an example of why I say that, because you may say, well, I got plenty of patience, but it just depends on what you're waiting for. We sometimes get impatient when we have to wait. Ladies, when you go to the beauty parlor to get your hair fixed and your nails did, you hate waiting. And I don't know how it happened, but I've known some women to go in at 12 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning and not come out of the beauty until 8 at night. What kind? I don't understand. But they wait. They wait, and I'm sure they wait sometimes impatiently, because their appointment was at 10 that morning, and they don't get in the chair till 2 and 3 o'clock in the evening. I'm sure some men, when we go to the barber shop, we hate to have to wait. We hope when we get there, no one will be in the chair, and we can walk right in, and we find ourselves with 3 or 4 in front of us, and it seems like after they cut, somebody else comes in, and you patiently or try to wait, but none of us really like to wait. When we go to the supermarket, I hate waiting to check out. I hate waiting in a long line. And Sister Arden, sometimes I get in the short line thinking that's the fast line. But it seems like whenever I'm in a hurry, no matter what line I get in, it becomes the short line becomes the long line. And somebody went up there with I knew it didn't have a price tag on when they got up there. And now you got to wait 30 minutes, it seems like, for somebody to go get a price tag on a certain can or certain item, but we wait. Children, for a few days ago, they were waiting on Christmas Day. And I'm sure the longer they waited, the longer it took for Christmas to get here for them, for their surprise, their toy, their present, their gift. It's hard to sometimes have to wait. I know there's some when we go on vacation, used to be a time we leave and we had to go to Florida somewhere, and we drove most of the time, and Florida, Orlando is a good 11 and a half hour drive if you're driving right. And we leave the driveway and get about halfway down the road, and the kids start asking, are we there yet? And drive another 30 minutes and they still ask, until we get there, they're waiting. And they're impatient because they want to get to the vacation spot, and they just hate to have to wait so long. All these things we do, we hate to wait. And the thing about it is that sometimes God makes us wait. I'm not saying that we should be late. I'm not saying that we should always drag around. We should try to be on time. But there are some things that God makes us wait for. And when we wait, we realize that there's a purpose and a reason. There was a story I heard one time about a lady. She had a daughter that was leaving, going on a trip, and she was supposed to be on a certain plane. And after they had got home, they turned on the news just to hear that plane had crashed. And they were all concerned because they knew their daughter was on that plane, that flight. And about 30 minutes after that, the daughter called and said to her, Mama, I'm sorry, I missed my plane. I'm going to take another plane out. She said, I got caught up in a traffic. I couldn't get there on time. God had a purpose for her not to make that plane. It was not her time yet. And God had her to wait. Many things happen. So sometimes when you're on your way to work, when you're on your way somewhere, and the traffic seems to be tight, and it seems like the lights are slow about changing, God may be holding you back for a reason. There's been some time when I've been that way. I'll be rushing and trying to get somewhere, and then when I finally get up the road, there's a big long car pile up, and you find out there's a big wreck up the road, 3 or 4 cars in a wreck, and some didn't make it out of it. And you said, now if the traffic had not been so congested, I would have been right in the midst of that wreck. So God has a purpose and a plan. And when David said, I waited patiently for the Lord, that lets us know that sometimes we got to wait a long time. God, the song says, he may not come when you want him, but he's always on time. So we have to sometimes wait on the Lord. And that's the main topic this morning, not the fact that we have to have patience, but it's what we have to have patience in waiting on. Now, some of us, I know you have waited on your friends before. Some of you, there's been folks that say, I'm going to join a church, but I'm waiting on my wife, I'm waiting on my husband to join, I'm waiting on certain things, I'm waiting on my mama. I'm here to tell you, you cannot wait on man for anything. Because if you waited on man, then you still be where you are right now. You still be stuck in the rut. If you waited on your co-workers to start treating you like you think they should, if you waited on family members, or vice versa, not just wait, if you listen to family members, if you listen to your co-workers, if you listen to your so-called friend, if you listen to your church members sometime, you wouldn't be where you are now. If you listen to them, because they don't work like Jesus worked. They don't see things like the Lord sees things. So we cannot wait nor always listen to man. But we have to be, the topic said, David said, I waited patiently on the Lord. That's the one, that's the answer, that's the one that can take care, that's the one that can heal us, that's the one that can deliver us. Wait on the Lord. If it had not been for him. And David said, this is what happened. He said in the second verse, he brought me up out of the muck and mire, the horrible pit, and through the muck and mire clay, and set my feet upon a rock, and established my going. God can do that for you if you wait on him. He'll establish it. You know, that's a thing man can do, but man can do what God can do. He may put you on a pedestal, may put you on something, but it won't be a solid foundation. It won't be solid. You'll be there for a moment, for a minute, and then when you least expect it, your foundation will start slipping on you.